Hey guys, what is going on? This is my top 10 list for the best streaming series of 2022 so far. So in last place, number 10 is Moon Knight, the MCU Disney Plus series that stars Oscar Isaac. Now I enjoyed Moon Knight quite a bit, but it did have some problems which I will talk about. But first I just want to quickly talk about the stuff that I liked. I really liked Oscar Isaac's performance. It was one of the best performances we've ever seen in the MCU. The way he would switch between Stephen Grant and Mark Spector was fantastic. Ethan Hawke as the villain was pretty cool. I thought it was an interesting villain. I really liked the whole Egyptian aspect of it. I liked that it was set in Egypt. While I found the stuff with the gods was interesting, I sort of have a problem with the mythology that it introduces into the MCU, because I feel like the MCU is getting overstuffed, and this just seems to be another corner of it that needs to be explained a bit better. Like does the Celestials know about the gods? Like, how does the Celestials fit into the gods and all that kind of stuff with the Marvel stuff? But yeah, so that was probably my biggest problem with it. And yeah, some of the episodes in the middle, episode 3, I think particularly was not very, I don't even think I liked episode 3, but I think episode 1 was fantastic. I loved episode 1. Episode 1 came out, I was like, yeah, this is phenomenal, I'm loving it. Episode 2, I really enjoyed. I really liked episode 2, not as much as episode 1. I don't think I enjoyed any other episode as much as I enjoyed episode 1. But yeah, episode 2 was good. Episode 3 I did not like at all. I felt it moved too slow. I felt the action in some bits was a bit choppy, you know. Kevin Feige sort of teased this up as to be really brutal, but it didn't really turn out that way, which, you know, I was excited for, but, you know, it is what it is. And that massive twist in episode 4 I thought was really interesting. I really actually quite liked episode 4 and 5 and 6. So yeah, I quite liked a lot of the episodes. I just think episode 3 and the mythology that it introduces really bogs this show down for me, and that's the biggest reason why it's last on my list. Coming in at number 9 on my list is The After Party, which released on Apple TV Plus earlier this year. And this was a big murder mystery show that sort of played with genres, and I really enjoyed this show. It was such a pleasant surprise, you know. I was just flicking through Apple looking for things to watch, and I came across this, I think the first 3 episodes had been released. It was within the first week of release, and I was like, this seems interesting. So I watched the first 3 episodes and I loved it. I love the genre bending that it does throughout each episode. The first episode is, and it's from each character's perspective. The first episode is Anik's perspective, which is sort of like a rom-com. Episode 2, I can't exactly remember. I remember one of them was like a thriller, one of them was cartoon, one of them was a musical. You know, I found that all really interesting and really fun. It was really fun to watch, and I actually found myself very interested in the actual mystery of it, like who killed Xavier. I thought that was all interesting. This show had an awesome cast. It had Ben Schwartz, it had Ike Baron Witz or something, I don't know how to say his last name. It had Dave Franco. They're all actors, which I know their faces, I don't know their names. But yeah, it had a pretty good cast. It was quite funny. It was really interesting. I felt like though, maybe like the twist at the end was really good, but I do feel like maybe it played it a little bit safe toward the end. But yeah, that's just a little critique. Otherwise, I did love this show. I think I would have liked maybe like a bigger twist or something, but the twist was interesting. Yeah, so this show was great. I really enjoyed it. That's why it's on my top 10 list for 2022 so far. Coming in at number 8, we have the new Bel-Air show, which is a sort of remake of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air series, which I never watched. But yeah, it's a comedy that was, Will Smith starred in back in the 90s, and it was remade into a drama, which I heard about. I haven't seen the original show, but I know what it is. Obviously, everybody knows Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And yeah, and I was like, that's interesting. But then once it came out, the first 2 episodes dropped, and I saw it was getting really positive reviews. I was like, you know what, I've got nothing to watch. I'll check it out, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. It was just a fun little drama that I sort of found myself really interested in. I thought obviously the main character, Will Smith, I thought he was great. I have a little criticism about him, but yeah, I thought the entire cast was great. I was actually interested in a lot of storylines, especially with the mum getting into art, and the sister and her social media stuff. I found that really interesting. The stuff with Carlton, yeah, I found that stuff actually very entertaining. It's like a guilty pleasure. Like, I don't know, a lot of people didn't watch this show, and I just found it really enjoyable, and I really, really ended up enjoying it. Now, my one critique is that obviously all the drama with Will Smith, you know, that's got nothing to do with this, but the main character is Will Smith. It's supposed to be, Will Smith, and I'm thinking he was a producer on this show. I'm thinking the show's a little bit self-indulgent. I mean, this kid, you know, the main character, he's an all-star basketball player. All the girls want him. His cousin's girlfriend goes for him. He can play piano. I mean, like, everybody in this new town, when he moves to Bel Air, everybody's talking about how great he is and how much they love him. And it's a little bit self-indulgent, but otherwise, the show was great. I found it really, really enjoyable. And yeah, it was just a fun little show to watch that I ended up really, really enjoying. Coming in at number 7 is Euphoria Season 2, which, you know, this is usually not my type of show. Like, I binged Season 1 when Season 2 was coming out, when Season 2 was about to come out, because my sister was actually watching it, and I thought, you know, why not? I'll give it a try. And I actually found myself really enjoying it. I mean, like, I know it's a lot of, I'm just specifically talking about Season 2 now. So I binged Season 1 and then I watched Season 2 weekly. It's a show about really deep subjects and really, you know, dark subjects, but I just found myself so entertained by it and so interested in every character, and I thought Zendaya was fantastic this season. That bit, the start of episode 5, she's getting the Emmy this year. There's no competition about it. That was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I really loved the show. It's a guilty pleasure, honestly, like, because it's not my type of show. It's like a teenage drama sort of thing, but it's a lot darker and a lot more mature than that. But yeah, I just found myself really interested in it, and I was actually getting really excited week to week. I was rooting for some of these characters at the end of Season 2. I'm not going to spoil anything, but oh my god, that death, I did not see it coming. I can't believe it actually went there. It got renewed for Season 3. I'm really excited. So yeah, Euphoria, I didn't think it'd be my kind of show, but I ended up actually really enjoying it, and the acting on this show is phenomenal. So yeah, that's probably one of the main reasons I enjoyed it, because it was so well acted. And I just found myself getting really, really interested. Like, week to week, it was like watching a Marvel show. Like, that's how excited I wasn't over the moon excited. Like, for the recent Marvel shows, I haven't been that excited for new episodes. But I just found myself, like, they were ending things on a cliffhanger. I just loved the way they structured it. It was like event television, like things like Stranger Things. Like, everybody was watching this. So yeah, I thought Euphoria Season 2 was really good. In 6th place is Miss Marvel, which is the most recent MCU show to come out, and this show was a real pleasant surprise for me. Episode 1 was actually really, really good. I didn't know what to expect from this show, other than, you know, Kamala Khan, which I was familiar with, and, you know, the Pakistani culture and stuff. I knew that we were getting that more representation and stuff, and so I didn't really know what to expect from the show, but I ended up really pleasantly surprised by what we got. I thought Kamala Khan is fantastic. She's so fun to watch. The whole family dynamics are cute. The power change, I don't mind. I think maybe the only issue I would probably have with it is the stuff that it does get bogged down by a lot of narrative with the Noor dimension, the clandestine and stuff, which they end up just making her a mutant anyway in the end. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how this leads into the Marvels, but overall this show was so charming and so fun. I know I've said a lot about a lot of things, they're fun, but it is fun. It is really fun. I love the supporting cast. I love Bruno, I love her family, I love Zoe, I love Nakia. I think the powers look cool. I'm not ashamed. I know a lot of people don't like them. I like them. So, yeah, Miss Marvel was very good. Very, very good. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. Episode 1, I think, is probably the best episode still. Episode 1 or 5, I really loved episode 5. But yeah, usually, Marvel series usually do have a good premiere. And then sometimes they go down, sometimes they go up. But yeah, so the premiere of the show, I think, was the first episode was probably the best. But yeah, because it sort of lost the stylization as we went on, but there was still an element of it in there. We did sort of get it back in episode 6 with the whole high school stuff, which I did love. So yeah, I'm so excited for the Marvels. Miss Marvel was a great show. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan is absolutely fantastic. One of the best MCU castings in my opinion. She just fits the role perfectly. So excited for the Marvels. This show was great. I really, really was pleasantly surprised by it. In 5th place, we have Our Flag Means Death. Now, I binged this show like a month ago because I had a 5-hour car ride that I was about to go on, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to need something to watch to get to pass the 5 hours. And then I was thinking, I've heard a lot of stuff about Our Flag Means Death. I know Taika Waititi's involved, and Reese Darby. And I was like, these are this will be interesting. It's a pirate show, So I thought, you know what, I'll check it out. And I binged that entire thing in one day. I started at the start of the road trip and I finished it that night in the hotel. I know that it is only half an hour episodes and it's 10 episodes, so that's 5 hours of content. I much prefer half-hour episodes for these kind of shows, by the way. But yeah, this show was fucking incredible. I was so blown away with how much I loved it, and I was actually really upset after I finished it, because I was like, I want more. I know there's going to be a season 2, but the show only came out this year, so we're going to have to wait a little bit for that. But yeah, the show started off as a fun, pirate sort of comedy adventure, which I thought was fucking hilarious. There was a line in episode 1, which I thought was fucking hilarious. It was where they were going to sell a new flag, and I think Black Pete, he says, it's just the way he delivers it. He says, I'm not fucking sewing, but just the way he delivered it was so funny. This show is hilarious. Obviously, it's Taika Waititi. Obviously, it's going to be hilarious. I know that I think he directed the first episode, and then he starred as Blackbeard throughout the season. And I think he was a producer and a writer and stuff. So yeah, obviously it was going to be great if Taika Waititi's involved. So, Reese Darby, though, I think is just fantastic. He plays sort of the same character that he's played before. He's got this, but that's about him as a person. He just brings those sort of sensibilities to his characters that he plays, and he's just hilarious. The Kiwi accent that he has is just so good. And one thing I did not expect about the show is I did not expect it to turn into a romance. I thought it was just a fun comedy pirate adventure, but I actually found the romance stuff kind of sweet, and I thought it was done really well. My favourite episode, though, by far, is episode 5, where Steve Bonnet is trying to teach Blackbeard how to, be civilized in society, and they go to this place where they pose as other people, and yeah, it was just hilarious. Nick Kroll was in that episode. This show had a lot of guest stars. It had Nick Kroll, it had Will Arnett, it had Leslie Jones. There was a lot of, and also a lot of faces which I didn't know their names, but I knew who the actor was. I just did not know their names. It even has Hodor from Game of Thrones. So yeah, this show was great. I cannot wait for season 2. I just want more. I already want more. And it ended on a very good cliffhanger as well. With, obviously, I'm going to spoil something here, so just a quick spoiler with Blackbeard, thinking that Steed has abandoned him, and he turns bad. I really like the emotional stuff of this show as well, the way Steed abandoned his family, because I think it was an arranged marriage, and yeah, he has 2 children that he doesn't love, and yeah, and I loved the relationship between Blackbeard and Steed. I thought it was really sweet. There was a lot of representation on the show, which I thought was nice. You don't see a lot of that stuff. You don't always see a lot of it in shows. It's always one character, or maybe 2 characters in a relationship. But there was a lot of it in this show, which I really appreciated. And I know a lot of other people did too. So yeah, I wish I saw this show earlier, but I'm glad I got to binge it. I don't know if it was released all at once or released in a weekly, but yeah, I'm so excited for season 2. Our Flag Means Death. Check it out if you haven't already seen it. Coming in fourth place is The Boys Season 3. I think this might be the best season so far. The writing on this show is phenomenal. The political commentary is phenomenal. The acting is phenomenal. Everything about the show, honestly, I think is phenomenal. I try to think of a flaw and I can't really. The only reason it's in fourth place and not first is because I think these other shows are even more phenomenal without flaws. But this show is just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. I'm trying to think of a flaw when I really can't. I loved every episode. I think the only flaw I would say is probably that maybe how long can they have Homelander as a villain? I think that's more of a critique for season 4 going forward, which we haven't seen yet, obviously. But if they're going to do Homelander as the main villain again, obviously Anthony Starr, I think it's Anthony Starr as Homelander is absolutely fantastic. I'd watch him for 8 seasons, I would. But I'm just wondering how long can you play out this Butcher and Homelander beef? How long can it be good before it gets stale? It's not stale yet. It's fantastic still. But how long can it go on before it becomes stale? I know we have sub-villains each season, like Stillwell season 1. Season 2 was Stormfront. Season 3 was Soldier Boy. They all start with S's. Yeah, so we'll see how we go with season 4 if they continue this rivalry. I think season 4 is actually going to be crazy because that ending was fucking awesome with Ryan being like indoctrinated by a Homelander into the soup sort of world. It was fantastic. The side characters on this show, well not side characters, they're main characters, but yeah, Starlight, Huey, Kimiko, Frenchie, MM, all their stuff this season was great. A-Train had a really interesting story, I think, with Blue Hawk and the way he got his heart replaced, and it was Blue Hawk's heart. They didn't do much with that, which I wish they went deeper into. But yeah, I think that was really interesting. That could have been very interesting if they explored that more, which they didn't. I get they didn't really have time for. Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy is fantastic. Oh my god, I really want more of him in season 4. I'm just gushing about the show at this point, but The Boys is literally one of the best shows on TV, and it has been for 3 years. I can't wait for season 4. I really can't. It's top tier superhero content. It really is, and I just can't keep. I can continue to gush about this show because of how fantastic it is. Carl Urban is a fucking legend. He's so good. He is so good as Butcher. I love this show so much. I just wish a little more was done with A-Train, and I wish that we could maybe finally see the fight to end all fights between Butcher and Homelander, which we still haven't gotten yet, but we will. I presume we will get it in season 4. The Boys is fantastic. I can't wait for season 4. Obviously, you've probably seen it, but if you haven't, go watch it. It's absolutely phenomenal. In the top 3, in third place, we have Peacemaker, which is done by James Gunn, stars John Cena, and is the spin-off of the Suicide Squad. This fucking show was fucking incredible. I'm still in awe. James Gunn is a master. He's the master of superhero filmmaking at this point. Like, obviously he's not the best, but every single piece of superhero content that James Gunn has put out, I have absolutely loved. Despite the Suicide Squad bombing at the box office, which I loved that movie. And Peacemaker didn't, obviously, I don't think got the viewership that they wanted, even though it is getting season 2. But yeah, James Gunn is absolutely fantastic at this. He really knows how to make superhero content, and his sensibilities really line up with the kind of stuff I like to watch. So yeah, Peacemaker, from episode 1 to episode 8. I think there was 8 episodes, maybe 9. I'm not sure. It was just, every episode was incredible. I can't think of one bad episode. I was so invested in these characters. I was so interested in the plot. It was, John Cena as Peacemaker in this show was absolutely fucking fantastic. He's so, he's charismatic, but he also has like a deep sort of trauma to him with his father that you can see in his performance. The trauma caused by his father and his brother. You can see that in his performance. I think this is John Cena's best performance so far. He was great in Suicide Squad, but I think he was just even better in this. Vigilante was absolutely fantastic. He I think was my favourite character on the show. Vigilante was he was so good. He was so funny as well, and he's a much different character than I've previously seen in Arrow. I know that in Arrow they sort of changed the character up a little bit to change the identity, but yeah, it was just a fantastic show through and through. I was even interested in I forget her name. It's Amanda Waller's daughter. I was even interested in her. I thought she was, because she was like more of a side character. She was meant to just be like, she had a really interesting plot. Typically, I would be interested in those kind of side characters. Like, I didn't find myself that interested in like a Harcourt. I thought she was really interesting, but she was a little more stereotypical, tough girl. But yeah, Leota, that was her name. That was Danielle Brooks' name. Leota. She was fantastic. I realized what I said. I don't usually get interested in those kind of characters. I mean, like a side character. Usually, side characters are just sort of two, one-dimensional characters. But the stuff with Amanda Waller and the stuff with her relationship, the struggle that was being put on her relationship by this mission that her mother had sent her on, was insane. Mern was fantastic. The reveal that he was a butterfly, I did not see coming. And he was a good butterfly, which I thought was really cool. The finale was great. We got a cameo by the Justice League. Was it the cow? Is that what they called the big butterfly alien thing? Yeah, there was a big, what I loved about the show? There was a big action set piece every single episode. Every episode had at least one big action scene that I just loved. It kept me so engaged through and through. This is definitely, so far in top 3 best shows of the year. Only 2 shows have beaten it out for me so far. If I had to pick a criticism, I don't know what I would pick. Maybe Harcourt's character was, but I enjoyed her. I just didn't find myself as invested in, as the other characters. I definitely enjoyed her. I thought she was, she was cool, but she was a little bit of a stereotypical, tough girl kind of stuff. But yeah, she was fine. I think that would probably be my only criticism. I think it's the end of episode 3 where he uses the helmet to blow up the butterfly chick. That left my jaw on the floor, man. I did not expect it, but I should have, knowing that James Gunn was on this. James Gunn, I will continue to sing the praises of James Gunn. Man, he's so good, man. This show is so good. I cannot wait for season 2, man. This show was great, and I will gush about it. I will continue to sing the praises of this show until season 2 comes out. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I was so happy with what we got. And yeah, it was great. Surprisingly, coming in second place is Stranger Things Season 4. You will see why it's not my number 1. It would have been if not for one thing in Volume 2, which I will talk about. But I'm going to start by talking about Volume 1, briefly. Volume 1 was absolutely fantastic. It was the best of Stranger Things we've ever gotten. I loved it. I'm not going to go into full detail about it, but just all the character storylines. There was like 4 main storylines. I was so invested in each one of them, except for maybe the California one, but that's not a big issue because the other ones made up for that. The Hawkins storyline really made up for that. Max is the MVP of the season, obviously. Sadie Sink, honestly, the fact that she didn't get an Emmy nomination for this show, I'm kind of shocked, honestly. I know that the Emmys don't really like to give awards out to these type of shows, but I'm just blown away at how she was not nominated. She was so great. Everybody this season was so great, but she really stood out to me. Steve Harrington, Robin, Lucas, Dustin, Will, Mike, Eleven, all of them were great. Maybe not Will, Jesus. Maybe not Mike. He did not have a lot to do this season. But yeah, they were all great. The 11 storyline, getting her powers back, was awesome. Volume 1 was great. I was very interested in Joyce and Hopper. I was very, very interested in Vecna. Definitely the best villain we've had on Stranger Things so far. The episode 1 was fantastic. Eddie was so good. Argyle was cool. I wasn't really that into Argyle. But yeah, Eddie was fantastic. wish Chrissy didn't die in episode 1. That's only because I wanted to see more of their chemistry, which I thought was fantastic. But yeah, Stranger Things, it was just, this show has been a phenomenon ever since it came out. I think it's one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. Like, it truly, truly is. I rewatched it recently before Volume 2 came out. And I thought, because I remember thinking to myself, oh, Season 2 wasn't that good, but I rewatched the whole show and I was like, Season 2 was great. What am I on about? That was one bad episode. Season 2 was great. Season 1, I think Season 4 is better than Season 1, but Season 1 comes very close to it because Season 1 is fantastic. Season 3 was good. I rewatched it, I was like, it's not as great as I remember, but it's still great. It's not as incredible as I remember, but it's still great. So yeah, Stranger Things is a phenomenon. I will love this show forever. I can't wait for Season 5. But now I'm going to talk about the big reason why it's not in the first place. 2 big reasons, actually. Reason 1 is Max's death, I say in quotation marks. I felt it was a cop-out. I felt if you're going to kill her, go all the way. You don't, like that whole scene where she was up in the air and her bones were snapping, I was literally had a pillow up to my mouth. I had no idea what was going to happen next. It was shocking. It was emotional. It was crazy. And then when she was on the ground, she fell to the ground with Lucas, and that scene with Lucas and Max on the floor, and he's crying, calling out for help, was absolutely phenomenal. It was the best scene on Stranger Things ever. I think it's going to be hard to get a scene that beats that this year for me. So yeah, but I feel like 11 resurrecting her is a cop-out. Like, what can't 11 do at this point? Well, she can just resurrect people now. Obviously, she wasn't fully killed. She's in a coma. But, excuse me. But it's not a death. I feel like it's a complete cop-out. If you're going to do that, then you might as well just kill her and let the emotional impact of that scene actually impact you and not just feel cheapened by the fact that she's not really dead. I think they should have killed her. Either kill her or don't do all that stuff with her bones snapping and all on the ground with Lucas crying. Because yeah, I think that's a big problem. And also another big problem that kept it out of first place was Eddie dying. What was the reason? There was really no reason other than to give us an emotional death like we did with Alexi and Barb in Season 1. They don't need to introduce great characters and just kill them. I think that is so. They should not have killed Eddie. Eddie was a fantastic character, and he could have been great in Season 5, which I am very excited for. But yeah, don't kill him. You shouldn't have killed him. Resurrect him in Season 5. I'm sorry. It's the way it's got to be. But yeah, overall, Stranger Things Season 4 was fan-fucking-tastic. Jamie Campbell Bower as Vecna was incredibly terrifying, and yeah, that whole the whole backstory we got with him, shaping the mind flayer and controlling the mind flayer, like it was him all along, and that he sort of shaped the wasteland. Which in Season 5 we're going to learn more about the Upside Down, but we sort of got a glimpse into that this season in Volume 2. But yeah, Stranger Things Season 4, absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited for Season 5. That ending shot, oh my god. And another thing I want to talk about too is that it's very emotional. There was a very emotional scene with Will and Mike. When Mike is very clueless, for starters. Will was literally sitting there basically confessing his love to him, and he thought he was talking about 11. It's just... how stupid you have to be. But yeah, that was really emotional when he, turned to the side and he started crying, and then Jonathan saw and he talked to him later in the pizza place. I thought that was really emotional, and it was done really well. This season has been great. I'm so excited for Season 5. Season 4 is a fucking home run. And if it wasn't for those 2 things with Max and Eddie, this would be in my number 1 spot, and it probably would stay there for the rest of the year. So yeah, Stranger Things Season 4 is the second best show of the year so far. Getting the gold trophy, coming in at number 1, is a show I did not expect to come in at number 1, and that happens to be Severance on Apple TV Plus, starring Adam Scott. This show is mind-blowing. It was mind-blowingly good. I'm so fucking lucky that I got to binge it, because I tell you what happened. I watched the first I watched like 15 minutes of the first episode, and I was like, I'm not really interested, and I turned it off. And then I waited, like not intentionally, like a month or two, maybe 3 went by, and everybody was tweeting about the finale and how great it was, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll give Severance another chance. And so I gave it another chance. I binged the whole thing in like a week. They're very long episodes. I think there was like 8 episodes. Yeah, they're very long episodes. But yeah, it's a slow burn. But slow burns can work if the payoff is incredible. Slow burns won't work. Slow burn TV shows won't work if the payoff isn't good. And if the payoff wasn't good for Severance, it would not be as good as it is now. I still would have enjoyed the journey that we went on, which I did enjoy it very much. It was so interesting and so intriguing with just every concept of this show. I think a slow burn can also work if you have an interesting concept that makes the journey interesting, and that's what Severance had. I'm not going to go into detail about the plot because I'll just talk for ages about it, but I just want to say Ben Stiller is fantastic. I think he directed every episode of this show, and it was just fantastic. I wouldn't expect Ben Stiller, like Meet the Fockers. This guy, Ben Stiller, it just shocks me. It truly does. Adam Scott is fantastic. He was nominated for an Emmy for this. Helly R, her character, I don't know her real name, but Helly R was so interesting. That scene, oh my god, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it either. But her relationship with her outie and her innie is so intriguing and so crazy, and just learning about these characters' outies and their innies. It was fantastically well done. It was so fucking interesting. It was so fucking well crafted. Christopher Walken was in this show, which I didn't expect. He had a little thing with John Turturro, which if I had to critique, it would be probably that relationship with John Turturro, which I didn't dislike it, but I felt like it sort of didn't really lead to anything interesting, other than like maybe giving John Turturro's character more motivations. And yeah, so this show was fantastic. The fucking ending, spoiler, I'm going to spoil something real quick. Learning that Mark S, that was his name, it's been a while since I finished it. Mark S's wife, I don't know her name, survived, and that she is Miss Casey, the counselor. What the fuck, man? I can't wait for season 2. What the fuck did I just watch, man? That ending with Helly R at the convention, and the switching, Dylan, I think is his name, Dylan. Dylan is switching from the innie to the outie while they're outside, and then she gains consciousness while she's on the outside. It's just, I was blown away with Severance, man. This is the best show Apple TV has ever put out. And, there's been some great Apple TV shows, Defending Jacob, The After Party, Ted Lasso. These shows are great. But Severance takes the cake. It's the best show of the year for me so far. I doubt something can surpass it. If Stranger Things couldn't surpass it, I don't think anything else can. So, yeah, I'm floored by this show. Absolutely floored. So surprised. And I can't wait for season 2, man. I really cannot wait. And I really am interested. I want more backstory on Lumen. I want to see how everything unfolds with Mark S.'s wife. I'm so excited. I truly, truly am just floored by this show. If you have not seen Severance on Apple TV Plus, go watch it and do yourself a fucking favor. It is just incredible. The best show of the year. Apple TV Plus is doing some great stuff, and if you're not subscribed to them, you need to, and you need to check out Severance because it's the best. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked my list, please like and subscribe, and if you didn't like it, tell me why in the comments, and give me your list down in the comments, and let me know your thoughts on the video. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.